Hi, I'm Bart Hanson. I'm the owner and lead instructor for CrushLivePoker.com. The following hand comes from our call-in show that we record at 4:45 p.m. Pacific Time every Monday. If you want to call in your hand, check out the instructions in the video description.
This hand is a 1-3. It's a new table. We've been playing for maybe a couple hours. The opponent is a pretty loose, aggressive so far. I haven't seen this guy before.
Okay.
But so far in our time at the table, he's been raising probably about a third of his hands. He makes it 15 every time.
Okay.
Regardless of position, regardless of number of limpers in front of him.
And is he opening like bullshit hands, or just that he just has a static raising range without regard for limpers?
Yeah, it's without regard for limpers.
Okay.
So I've seen him do it as an open with nobody in front of him. I've seen him do it with 3 limpers ahead of him.
Yeah. Okay.
15 every time. So post flop, I've noticed that he bets a little larger with the draw. It's typically going to be about pot size, and also he'll raise with them if he's bet into, and he'll make it a pretty big bet. And I've noticed with the value hand, it's going to be closer to half pot. So we've picked up kind of a bet sizing pattern on him already.
Okay.
My image, I'm pretty tight. I've only played a few hands. I don't think I've shown anything down, and I'm usually pretty quiet at the table, so I'd probably look like a nit.
Okay.
So anyways, pre-flop, he opens to 15 under the gun. It folds to me in the cutoff. I have ace of hearts, queen of clubs, and I decided to just call here.
Okay, so just a quick question about that is that normally in a ring format, you're in the hijack, right? Is that right?
Cutoff.
Cutoff, okay. So the later, obviously, you are, the more you can flat call. The thing about this is that I wonder if I would be 3-betting more liberally, because when you call, I just feel at low stakes, you're just going to be enticing people to come along with you behind. Now, that could be a good or a bad thing, obviously, because some people might come along with dominated aces and things like that, but usually your hand is going to, ace queen offsuit is going to, and ace queen suited for that matter, it's going to be promoted by the fact that you're heads up. And in games like this, I think you do need to take into account when people call in between that you're just getting an overlay on a squeeze with a good hand. Like you should be 3-betting when people call in between, just because there's just an overlay in the middle, and that's how you pick up win rates. I mean, there's nothing wrong with flatting ace queen off in the cutoff versus standard under the gun open, but I wonder if I would make that adjustment if people behind you are coming in because they feel like, oh, there's money out there. You know what I mean?
Right. And the people behind me were not. There were 3 OMCs behind me, so I was in a pretty good spot there.
Okay.
But even with that, with a guy who I know is pretty wide, I wondered if maybe I should just be 3-betting, because I feel like I've probably got the best hand here a lot.
Well,
but if he calls, I'm not.
I mean, here's the thing. Well, here's the other thing, though, too. I mean, you're dealing with once again, sort of like the previous caller, you're dealing with a 5x open here at 1-3. So, if he makes it 15 and you make it 50 and he calls, now all of a sudden the pot's 100 and you've got 300 left. So a lot of your tools are somewhat taken away from you. So when people look at this and they're like, oh, he's over 100 big blinds deep, this isn't low stakes live no limit. When you're looking at a cap, when you're dealing with typical 4 to 5x open sizes, it's a lot shallower than people think. It's not sort of what people think of no limit theory as 100 big blinds. It's actually quite shallower than that, because the first open and the 3-betting is larger. So, there is something to be said where you're keeping the pot like a little bit manageable. You could have the best hand here, obviously, and you might give up something by not 3-betting the best hand, but it's not a big thing, I think, either way, except for the fact if people are going to call in behind you. But all right, so you call in the cutoff.
Right. Okay, so we're heads up.
Yep.
And we see a flop. It's 8 of clubs, 7 of hearts, 7 of spades.
8 of clubs, 7 of hearts, 7 of spades. You have ace of hearts, queen of clubs. You're in the cutoff. Okay.
Right. He bets 30.
Okay.
And I decided to call here because I just feel like he's so wide. And with what I've picked up on bet sizing, I think he's probably more likely to have a draw. Did
you say he was opening a third of hands? Someone in the live chat said that.
Yeah, he's opening like every 3 or 4 hands.
All right, well, okay, then I had somehow missed that. If he's opening a third of hands, then he's opening way too wide, and you've missed value here. I would definitely be 3-betting. I must have missed that. I just thought that you'd said that it was the same sizing the whole time. Thank you for that
It is the same sizing every time. Like
Yeah.
every time he opens, it's 15,
Okay.
but he's opening
Yeah. Then you need to punish him. You need to
like
punish his opens and
yeah.
start sort of three betting a linear range, but going down like where like
Okay.
sevens might be, ace 10, ace jack, seven, stuff like that. It's just, plus position. So I would definitely three bet this hand. But okay, so he bets 30, so full pot 877, and you decide to call.
Yes. Yeah,
Okay.
because I want to see what he does on the turn here.
Yeah, I don't think you can fold ace high if you've played it like this on a paired board.
Yeah. Yeah. So the turn comes, the pot's $90, and
Uh-huh.
it's the 5 of hearts,
Okay.
and now he checks.
Okay.
And this, I did get one response in the forum, and I agree with the poster. They said, if my plan was to try and take away the pot from him, this would have been the spot to do it. But I missed that,
I
and
don't
I
know. I
checked
mean,
back.
what do you mean take away the I mean, if you're going to take away the pot, I think about doing that more with like a hand like Jack 10 that has no showdown value. It's just
Okay.
one of these situations where are you going to get called by worse and are you going to get better to fold? If you can't get better to fold here, then I don't know if betting here really is the right play with a good ace high. What you know what I mean? Like, what are you taking
Yeah,
him
like if he's
away
got
from?
just overcards too, is what you're saying?
Well, if he's got overcards, I mean, I guess you've obviously you're giving a free card for a little bit of equity, but I mean, if he's got overcards, that's like six outs. I mean,
Yeah.
that's not
Yeah.
much. I would check this back. I don't think you
Okay.
need to take it away from him with ace queen as played.
Okay. All
Yeah.
right. Great. So that's what I did. So now we go to the river,
Hmm.
which is the 10 of clubs, and this is the interesting spot. Definitely a non-standard spot for me in this
Hmm.
game. 10 of clubs. He bets $90, so he bets pot again.
Okay.
And this was my question. So based on this action and what I know about this guy so far, with him basically being
Bef-
sizing
bef-
larger when he's
bef-
weak.
right. Oh, because you think his sizing is backwards. I don't know. I was gonna say,
Yeah.
dude, my gut reaction is I would just fold. I mean, to be honest with you, I would just fold. But because I understand what you're saying that like, oh, he's sort of backwards, like larger sizing means that he's weak, and I can get on board with that early on, like in an early street. But
Hmm.
like, is he betting pot on the flop and you call check check on turn and now he's betting the pot on the river as a bluff? I mean, that 10 sort of, I mean, not that he's doing any hand reading, but that 10 really connects with what you might call with on the flop. Like if you have like some sort of straight draws, 9-10
Hmm.
suited, Jack 10 suited. Um, what have you called on the flop with? This seems very, very value heavy. When is the last time I've seen a guy bet like go king jack as a full pot size bet on 877, turns a 5, now the river's a 10, and now he bets full pot at the end. Now you might see a guy do that if an ace comes on the river and try to credibly represent that he had an ace high hand that he c bet flop and check turn with. But when the 10 comes at the end, like what Broadway hands that you beat here is he doing this with? You know what I mean?
Yeah. Okay. So if we think he's not doing this for value, you would suggest just calling if like that's our read of him.
No, I think that this is value.
Okay.
For what I said, I don't think this is a
Well, yeah, I
bluff.
know what you're
I
saying
was sort
because
of
of the
flipping
sizing,
around.
but I think at
Yeah.
this level, I see when we get to the river, I
Hmm.
would say the average 1-3 player in this location, anyways, if they're going for value on the river,
Yeah.
they tend to size too small rather than too large
I
because they want to
mean,
make sure they get that call.
so are you?
Now,
So
this guy's a different animal, but just in general, that's what I see when I play this game.
so what are you thinking about? So are you thinking about calling here, or are you thinking about
No,
raising?
my question is I'm considering shoving because I don't think he has an overpair here very often. I think he continues to bet the turn. Like I can't give him nines plus here the way the Saints played.
Just people don't slow down. There's just no real like. There's no real sort of respect for the board at this level. Not that the 5 is that big of a. I mean, I would probably keep betting. Are you sure people don't check scared of trips though on the turn?
Sometimes they
I mean,
might,
there's no
but
flush draw on the flop, right? If I'm looking at it, so it's like eight
and see
seven
that's
seven.
another factor in my head is like I look pretty strong here. Like I look like I could have flopped a monster because a lot of people would play it this way. Like if I have pocket eights, if I have 8-7, if I have a 7, if I have 7-5. Like it could very well go down like this. And because I'm calling in late position and he's raising in early position, I'm probably more likely to have this board covered more than he is.
Well, that's certainly true that you probably do have more. Well, actually, but again, with this guy though, it's not. Now, if you were dealing with this is what we talk about on top section, like sort of optimal ranges from certain positions in six-handed games, and then we sort of adjust them to eight-handed and stuff like at equilibrium. If you were, and this is far from optimal, but if you were to just look at it in theory, yes, you would have a very big what we call nut advantage in this spot because
Yeah.
you have quite a bit of sevens, and the only seven that he's really raising with from under the gun might be like 6-7 or like ace-7 suited. Yeah, he's got eights, but you have like a lot more of those types of hands, and
Yeah.
you have fives too that he's not supposed to open, but that stuff
Right.
goes out the window when you're talking about a guy that's opening 33% of hands. The fact that he's got 33% of hands means that he very well might connect with this board, even if you say that he doesn't have an overpair. If he's opening a lot of hands, then I don't like the shove here.
Yeah.
Then this
And
is
I agree
probably
with you on
more of a
that part, but the other
call.
thing is his sizing. Like I
Yeah,
think if he, let's say he had one of those hands, like a seven or something,
yeah.
I don't see him betting that big on the flop and then betting that big on the river either.
I do see what you're saying. Like if he flopped a monster,
Yeah.
he wouldn't bet pot with a seven, right? So
Right,
you're
exactly.
trying to do this thing where you're going backwards and you're like, you don't think he's have an overpair because he wouldn't slow down on the turn. You don't think he's got a super strong hand like pocket eights or pocket sevens because, or like a seven because he wouldn't bet so large on the flop. So now you're sort of saying, well, he doesn't have a monster because of his flop bet sizing. He doesn't have an overpair because he checked the turn. So how can he call like a shove? I think
Right.
is that sort of
So
where
I
you're going
kind of
with?
narrowed it down. Like I felt like this was like basically pocket fives, or I mean maybe he played a flopped boat like this, but again with the sizing, I didn't think so. I thought it was either pocket fives or nothing, or maybe a weirdly played overpair.
All right. Well, let me
But
ask you
even if
this
he does
question though.
have an overpair, how does he feel if I've called flop, check turn, and then shove river?
Yeah, but let me ask you
Because
this question. But let me go back to what you're saying though, Matt. Is that if you think he's quote unquote polarized here at the end, where he's going to be very very strong with like a boat, or he's not going to have anything, then I would think that calling is a lot better play than shoving. Now you're saying, well, what if he does have a weirdly played overpair and I shove? It's going to be hard for him, to call, but you had sort of dismissed that. So now we're going and saying that now you're shoving ace queen because now you want to get him off of a weirdly played overpair, right?
yeah, yeah,
I
I
I
guess.
just I would tend to fold
But
with a
like the
guy
other thing
this.
that would suck is like I thought about what if I just call and he flips over ace king, like let's say he's got missed overs like king jack or something like that, and he's just trying to blow me off a hand.
Yeah, but if he's got king
Like
jack, you win though, right? Oh, you mean if he's trying to blow you off a king jack
yeah, something like that.
with
Like
ace king?
or yeah, like let's say he's got ace king, I can't just call and then it's like
I
you
don't.
feel
I don't
stupid
think he's
because
got
you
it.
kind of made it right.
I don't think you have to worry about ace king here too much. I mean, and then you know what? If you call and he shows you ace king, you tap the table. But that's not gonna the times that he's gonna have ace king and then he'll fold, and the times that he's rarely gonna have some sort of weirdly played overpair, and you're gonna pray that he folds is probably not worth the risk of putting your entire stack in, which is like another $240 to do that. I think that if you think he's polarized, then you can call, but I would fold.
Okay.
What happened?
All right. Well, I thought about it for a couple minutes
uh,
and I went ahead and shoved.
okay.
And so he goes into the tank forever,
Yeah.
like several minutes, probably 4 or 5 minutes. And he finally folds. He's muttering to himself, and he's like, I can't believe I made my hand. I'm thinking about folding this. This guy's only played four hands, blah, blah, blah. And he says he folded 9-6, which would have been a straight.
I mean,
So
I
I didn't
can't
believe it at the
that.
time.
Yeah.
But then, within the next hour or two that we played, I had seen him show down 9-6 from earlier position.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean that he has 9-6 though here. You know what I
I know,
mean?
but it's just like you would never say somebody has that in their range, but this guy actually has 9-6 in his range. Now, if he actually folded that, I mean, I'll never know. He didn't show,
Yeah, but
but
that means that you
I
could
believe
just
that he
bluff
has that in
any
his hand.
board like at any time versus this guy because he's going to be scared of the nuts. You know what I mean? I mean, it could be. I mean, this is obviously using some pretty big assumptions and stuff
Hmm.
with what you think this bet sizing is, but I think what you should take away from this hand is that if someone's very, first of all, he should three bet pre, which I didn't catch on to
Yeah.
if he's very wide, but if he's going to be wide, then the board's going to connect with him more than it's going to connect with you in this spot, and I would just tend to fold. But thank you for the call. I appreciate it. Hey guys, if you like what you've seen here, please click on the subscribe button and you'll get notified every time we put up a new video. And if you want to check out crushlivepoker.com for the first month free, use the code YTA200. Click on the link right there.